Hey guys, it's ShadowFlyer. Today I want to give you my perspective on my time at Air Assault at Fort Benning just last week. So it's pretty recent, and there's not going to be a lot of tips in this video. I'm going to make a new video entirely on tips for anyone going to Air Assault this summer or in the future. So it's definitely going to be a unique perspective, whether you've gone or not before. Primarily because I'm Air Force, so I'm used to doing things a certain way, and the Army's used to doing something completely different way. Another reason it'll be strange, if you have gone through especially, is just because it was a very unique class. The class was made up of 90% of cadets. There were some active duty and reservists, they were actually both officers and enlisted Army, but they only made up 10% of the class, so it was definitely unique in that aspect. It was also different because the instructors there didn't believe in smoking. So if you're not familiar, most of the classes I've heard of for Air Assault, it's like not necessarily that it's officially scheduled, but almost in the sense of anytime you're waiting for something, someone's going to come out and yell at you, or you're going to do extra PT because you're not motivated enough, or because you did this wrong, so we're going to teach you to do it better with push-ups. Just whatever reason they can come up with, they're going to yell at you and make you do extra PT just because they can. I mean, it's considered the 10 hardest days in the Army. But yeah, so the instructor didn't really believe in smoking, so we did get yelled at, and we did do extra PT a couple times, but not much. Another reason it was different was because it was hot. And I don't know if it's not usually that hot. I would assume it's pretty much hot every year, but we were in what they called Heat Category 5, Heat Cat 5. So we got to roll our uniform, which was new for me. I'd never gotten to do that before. I've rolled sleeves before, but I've never rolled pants before. But not only that, because of the heat, a lot of people kept like passing out, which isn't good, but when you're supposed to be doing PT or you're getting yelled at or whatever's happening, and suddenly the guy in the row behind you just falls unconscious and falls on his face, they stop everything. And it's not like they stop it temporarily to assist him and then you keep going. They would pretty much just stop whatever you're doing, and then you get to go back to the air conditioning because they don't want it to happen to anyone else. So I mean, that's good. It's a safety reason for why they do it, but almost every single time we had some type of PT, somebody would pass out. So it kind of made it a little easier for everyone that wasn't passing out, because we'd get halfway through the exercises and, oh, time to go inside. So for those reasons, it was a very unique Air Assault class, so I won't say it's nearly as hard as they usually should be, but I'll still explain how everything went. So just to give you some quick numbers, so we started off with 270 people. So we had 90% of us, like I said, were cadets. The last 10% were enlisted active duty officers, whatever. But 90% of us were in college. We were college students. From there, we lost 33 during 0 day. We lost some people on the run. There's a 2-mile run that you start off 0 day with, and you run in your OCPs, or in my case, my ABUs. Most people passed it. There were a few people that didn't. I'd say maybe 5, but I don't know. They didn't tell us the numbers for that. All they told us that we started with 270, and we lost 33 during 0 day. We also lost a lot of people during the obstacle course. The obstacle course wasn't terribly difficult. I'll get more into that later, but we did end up losing a lot of people, especially on the confidence climb. After 0 day, we gained, I think, about 5 or 6 people, so they have recycles during every phase. So if you fail at any point during one of the phases, as long as it's not like a huge safety violation, you are given the opportunity depending on where you are. So cadets aren't given this, but if you are, let's say, at Fort Benning, and you go through Air Assault and you fail the written test, or you fail something on phase 1, what they'll allow you to do is they'll allow you to come back during the next Air Assault and begin at the phase you failed. So we had about 5 or 6 people join us for phase 1. From there, we lost 3 to 5 people. We didn't lose many people, but most of the people we lost were heat casualties, so people that passed out and had to be sent to the hospital or had to be treated. If you missed more than an hour, you instantly were disenrolled from the course. And pretty much any injury that wasn't like blisters or scrapes and stuff, you had to be treated for a while. So we had about 6 to 10 people fail the written test for phase 1, but of that, you're given a retake at 1:30 in the morning, and I think almost everybody passed that. I think primarily the people that got out for phase 1 were heat casualties. From there, we gained about 5 to 10 people for phase 2, so we had 5 to 10 recycles come join us for the sling loading phase, and we lost a lot of people for that one. Not nearly as many as they usually lose. They said they usually lose at least 30. We didn't lose nearly that many, but we had 96 people fail sling loads the first time. So every test you take for air assault, you get a retake if you fail the first time. For sling loads, if you have 4 sling loads to inspect, if you fail the A22 cargo bag, so you fail 1 load, then you just retrain and retest on that singular load. If you fail on 3 of the loads, you retest on 3 of the loads. But we had 96 people fail at least 1 sling load the first time, and we had, I think, 3 people fail the written. However, they all got retakes after being retrained, and only about 10 to 15 people ended up having to get kicked out. From there, we gained 4 or 5 people recycles for phase 3. We lost a few more people, again, heat casualties. We lost people every single phase for that. But then we also lost a few people for fatal hookups. So once we got tested over the how to hook up, if you did it wrong, and especially in certain ways, it was a safety violation. You were out. We even had a recycle that failed for deadly hookup. When he went through air assault the first time, he came back and he did the exact same thing apparently, which they said they felt bad, but those are the rules. So they did. We lost a few people for that. We ended up graduating with 225 people. We didn't lose many from phase 3. The most people we lost during that time was from the ruck, the 12-mile ruck at the very end. And I think there were, again, 1 or 2 people that failed the equipment layout after the ruck. We had one guy actually that got sent away that I saw, but apparently he found the item and they let him back in, which was nice. But I think there were a couple other people, because there were people in the 6-mile ruck as well that did that. So yeah, those are the quick numbers. So yeah, started with 270, lost 33 during 0 day, gained a few people for every single cycle, but ultimately graduated with 225. That's all I have for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. My next video is going to be on arrival and in processing, so stay tuned for that. Have a great day, guys.